Hey guys, what's up? We're going to get started right away on the WGR Life Day. If you noticed today, I'm actually not going to have a guest because I wanted to share some really powerful things with you that I think maybe, in fact, I know it's this one thing is holding you back, right? It's a lie that we tell ourselves. So as you guys hop on, drop a 1 in the comments below. Make sure that I can hear you. I'm just going to wait just a couple minutes, make sure people hop on. And if you cannot hear me, if there's like no sound coming out of my voice, please put a 2 in the comments below, or a no, or some sort of signal that helps me understand I can't hear you. If you're watching this live, awesome. Thanks for being here. For all you guys watching it recorded, also appreciate you. Do me a favor. If you're watching this live, put an L in the comments. If you're watching recorded, put an R in comments so I can monitor that. Also, if you're watching on my podcast or YouTube, subscribe now. So here's the challenge that I'm seeing with people. So I work with thousands of real estate agents across the country. I work with a very in-depth set of individuals in the Real Estate Hustlers Mastermind. I'm talking 21 really top producing, highly productive individuals. And I've worked with a lot of not so productive individuals in my career. And what I've been able to identify throughout my life is that there is a conversation with ourselves that until we have it, we're unable to break through in either our financial world or our emotional world, right? The reality is both you and I know. We both want to make some money. Yes or yes, right? Put a yes in the comments if you want more money in your life. In fact, I think anyone that says they don't want more money is lying. In fact, I think they've got something messed up in their head if they don't want more abundant financial life, okay? But the abundant financial life isn't the only thing that I know you're after, right? Because I talk to real estate agents all the time. And the number one reason they get into real estate is to get more money, right? Is to get financially free, right? So I have students all over the world signing up for Financial Freedom Nation, and that's what they want, is they want the freedom that comes from their financial world. And it's really a trick. I end up teaching them how to become free and make more money, right? Because it's the money that's not sets them free. It's the emotional cage that you and everyone else, and even myself, at one point or another has been trapped inside of, right? It's this thing called fear, doubt, worry, anxiety. I know you're facing some anxiety, but here's how typically we deal with fear, with worry, with doubt, with anxiety, is we mask it over. Right? We mask it over, and I cannot tell you how many individuals, they're using drugs, they're using alcohol, they're using sex, they're using Facebook, they're using food. Food is probably one of the biggest things, and the cell phone today on top of drugs, right? And I personally would never want to shoot heroin into my arms, but oftentimes it's not even heroin, right? And I am a proud supporter of marijuana and THC. If you don't know that, now you know. But still, that is a substance that I'm seeing abused more and more as it comes out more and more mainstream. Okay, so what happens is we've got this disconnection inside of us, and we have the belief that I can out hustle that fear, that worry, that doubt, that anxiety, or worse, we try to out hustle it so much that it eats at us and that it abuses us, and we do one of two things. We mask it up with a drug, whether it's your phone or alcohol or food or pornography, or does not matter. You pick your drug of choice. They're abundant everywhere. Y'all are probably doing one or the other, right? Go hop on the scale, go check out your eyes, go check out your blood pressure. Where are you at? You probably know something that you're abusing. Okay? And if you don't know something, that's very common as well, because we pretend that it's not happening. And the other side of that is you finally get to the point where you can't keep up. You hit a brick wall because you've been willing your life into reality. And so sooner or later you begin to get depressed, you get jealousy, you get hate, you get fear. And so we pretend so much that we fog our brain up that we forget what it's like to truly be happy, to truly have bliss, right? I remember Will Smith once related bliss to the story of jumping out of an airplane. And unless you've jumped out of an airplane, which if you have, drop a 1. If you haven't, drop a 2. So I'd love to hear who's been skydiving before, right? But my first time was, and only time I might add, right, it was freaked me out, right? You get into the airplane in this rickety old tuna fish can, and you ride up in the middle of July is when I went, and it was freaking freezing. I don't know why it was that day. It was so freaking cold. We're riding up, and the anxiety builds, the fear, the fear of the unknown. I want you to be very aware of that. It's the fear of the unknown that holds anyone back in their life, okay? So you begin to create all these stories. I used to create all these stories, and I still do today, of what the outcome might look like, and it freaking freaks me out sometimes. How many of you guys can resonate with that? So here we go, up in the airplane, we get to 12,000 feet, and I'm strapped to this dude that's smaller than me, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, right? They just open the door, and then they throw you out of the airplane, and you just go flowing. But here's the thing, when you go flying out of that airplane at 12,000 feet above the ground, all of a sudden that fear, that doubt, that worry, that anxiety, all of that shit literally leaves your body instantly. And you're like, wow, I'm falling out of an airplane. And it's the most blissful experience, one of the most blissful experiences that I've yet to experience into my life. What if you could experience that bliss more often? Right? I know a lot of you guys watching this, or live or recorded, are high achievers. You make a lot of money. You do really well for yourselves. And yet you still might be abusing the food, or abusing the drugs, the pot, the alcohol, the cell phone. Doesn't matter. You're abusing something. But then there's the other side of you out there, that people on here watching, that you're still trying to figure out, how do you get making more money and get feeling better? Right? How do I get happier and make more money? The reality is you've got to dig deep and have a conversation with yourself. You've got to ask yourself, the question is, where am I stuck? And how have I failed to resolve being stuck? And even more so, how can I overcome the solution to these challenges that I'm having? Because until you start to get in alignment with the beliefs that your subconscious mind is currently having, and then disrupt that pattern to lead it down a new path, you've got to pace it, disrupt it, and then lead it down a new way. But you can only do that when you have an authentic conversation with yourself. Madeline just posted, be honest with yourself. Absolutely, that is the secret, is to be honest with yourself. And it's a lot easier to say that or type that than it actually is to create it. How do I know? I work with some of the top performing individuals in the United States when it comes to real estate. And they struggle with it just like I have struggled with it, okay? And you know what? I think even Madeline is more than reprogramming the subconscious mind. I think it's digging deep, grabbing the root and ripping that shit out of your subconscious mind, so you can create this space to create a new belief inside of the conditioning and the neural pathways, okay? And then once you come up with some solutions, some ideas, all of a sudden it's forward pacing. How would I like to change that result? What would I like that to look like financially and emotionally, right? If I'm already making a lot of money, how would I like to experience it? I went through this over the last couple of years, as I had mastered the science of sales and the science of achievement and the science of making money, and I was failing at the science of enjoying every moment for what it is. I always wanted to get to that point where I had no more challenges or no more problems or no more things to deal with, and yet they just kept getting bigger. I realized the more successful I was financially, the bigger my problems became. And then, it was only then when I became obsessed with my clear definition of wanting to have the art of fulfillment, that I was able to see that the problems are never going to go away. It's how I react to those problems. It's a matter of just ripping out the root of falling into this trap of battling this voice in my head, and just letting that bullshit float away, and getting addicted to that, getting addicted to oxygen. If there's one thing I want to suggest you get addicted to, is get addicted with conscious breathing and being extremely present. And the moment that you start to feel frustration, that is a very big sign that you're not present, that you're not there, okay? So you go back to having this conversation where, okay, here's what I want it to look like. I want to actually see myself enjoying the money that I'm earning with the people that I love, by spending time with them, by being really connected. And I don't mean be at the dinner table and not even have your phone with you, but you're there physically, but mentally you're thinking about business. You're thinking about some sort of problem or someone's drama, right? See, when someone comes to me in one of my coaching clients, or I'm doing a coaching session, I really love to do a lot of coaching, to be honest with you, but I know it's a powerful tool to help people break through. My coaching sessions are typically no longer than 15 minutes. I can help someone that quick go from their problem to seeing a solution, and then get into an action mode, okay? But where I see people getting stuck is they're in this little voice in their head and not disrupting that pattern. So when you see that, you know what I would like it to look like is, I'd like it to look like I'm at the dinner table with my family, and instead of thinking about that problem, right, I'm there, I'm focused, I'm watching my daughters, I'm watching my wife, right? I'm painting this picture for me because that's what I wanted to create, right? I wanted to create that at 7:30, I wasn't leaving to the office, but 8:30, so I could spend 7:30 to 8:30 spending time reading with my daughter, or doing Tai Chi or meditation, or go on a walk, or whatever it is that we want to create that day together, right? But until you get clear on what that thing is, then it's never going to happen. And the only way to get clear is by having an authentic conversation with yourself and disrupting the bullshit story that you keep giving yourself. So when I do these 15-minute conversations with people, I ask for permission ahead of time. Hey, can I just tell you to shut the fuck up if you're going on with the story? And everyone always obviously says yes because they want my help, right? The instant that they go off on the bullshit, I say, hey, listen, shut the fuck up and let's get back focused here. Let's get focused on what it is we want to create, and let's grab that root and let's rip it out, right? It's amazing how many times I will ask the question, or I'll start the session off with saying, hey, what are 2 things you're stoked about in your life right now? And they'll be like, oh, I'm stoked about this and this, but you know, if I could just get over this, if I could just stop this, I should have been this by now. I'm like, no, dude, shut the fuck up. Let's focus on what you're stoked about, not what you could have done different or what you should have done different. Just for a second, celebrate you for being you and being awesome, right? How many of you have a challenge with that? Just celebrating how awesome you are. Let's focus on that. Move to the next step. We'll get to the root, but let's focus on this first. And then we'll go down and I'll get to this part where we ask them to overcome the solution to your problem, which sounds like a funny question, so don't overanalyze it or you will go crazy, right? But how can you overcome the solution to your problem? And then once that hits their mind where they think about how can I overcome the solution to their problem, once they can disrupt that pattern and say, you know what, I could just do it. I could just make it happen. I can just get present. I would say the number one answer I hear when I ask a coaching student or a client of mine to say, how can you overcome the solution to your problem? When they stop thinking about, well, what do you mean the solution to the problem? When they stop thinking about the question, they get to the answer, they say, I can just do it. I can take some action. That's the key, right? Once you're clear on what it is, act on it, okay? And then the follow-up question is 2 steps later, is how soon do I want to stop it from being a problem in my life? How soon do you want to stop your money problems from happening in your life and get to where you're financially free? How soon do you want to stop your addiction and get moving forward with your life? How soon do you want to stop this problem in your marriage of not being connected with your spouse? How soon do you want to stop this overweight indulgence of just beating yourself up with food and instead of the good stuff? How soon do you want to feel awesome with your life? And it's funny because some people will tell me January 1, I'm like, what the fuck? Today is November still. Why do you want to wait another 2 months before you start taking control of who you are and really feeling the essence and joy that's inside of you, right? And so the answer, in my opinion, is now. It's right now. I want to do it right now. So how soon do you want to stop it now from being a problem? Now. I want to stop it now. And then you roll into, what are 3 commitments? 3 commitments I can commit to taking action on immediately. I had one of our mastermind partners that I did a session with him, and he was blaming his spouse for him not having enough time for himself. And it was funny because I really thought they had relationship challenges at first, you know, and people do, right? That's an issue. We got 2 people in marriages or relationships, right? But come to find out, as we walked him through this whole 15-minute conversation, the problem wasn't even her. The problem was him. He was blaming her for him not reading books. He was blaming her for not meditating and getting into the action items that he wanted to get into. Once he could see that, and once he could feel that and absorb that and hear that and know that, all of a sudden, that's when it shifted. That's when the blame and the victimhood disappeared. Apologize, someone just called me. That's when the victim disappears and the hero appears, right? So you gotta disappear with the victim and appear with the hero, like my friend Wayne Solomon says. Then he could choose 3 simple items. Don't do 100 items. Don't look at all the things you think you should be doing. You'll be so paralyzed with overwhelmment you'll never act. Pick out 1 or 2 or 3 things. So his 3 things were super simple. Number 1 was just to simply get out of bed in the morning. Just simply get out of bed no matter what it takes. At 5 a.m. His second thing is to spend the very first 15 to 30 minutes of his day doing the 2 things that he wanted most in his life, which was reading more books and meditating. So nothing else is more important once you decide, or once I decide, that these are the action items I want to move on, okay? So until you can have that conversation with yourself and admit that you're lying to yourself, admit that you're abusing yourself, admit that you're covering up with the addiction, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's marijuana, I don't care if it's heroin, I don't care if it's alcohol, I don't care if it's TV, if it's internet, if it's YouTube, if it's your cell phone, if it's whatever it is, there is something that's keeping you from moving forward if you feel frustration in your life. Unless you can meet that frustration head on and handle it one of 2 ways. We have 2 options with pain. We can either numb it out through the addiction, through the drugs, through the alcohol, through the internet, through the pornography, through our cell phones, through our food. I know a lot of you are just feeding your face full of food, right? Until you can literally have this conversation, you cannot break through. So you can either just numb it down with that problem, that addiction, Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to see this fear for what it is, and I'm going to look that motherfucker face on. I'm going to go look it straight on, and I'm going to give it a hug. And then once I can hug it, I can breathe through it, and I can say, oh my gosh, feels good just to embrace this. And then when you go a little bit deeper, you can realize that fear was there to serve you. That fear was there to protect you. That fear was there to help you. But it's only going to serve you so long. And in fact, what you'll really find out is that fear and you are on the same team. You both want the same result. You want the happiness. You want the love. You want the money. You want the abundance. You want the excitement. You want the fulfillment inside of your heart. That's really what fear wants for you as well. Right? And until you can become on the same team as fear and admit that you are afraid, once you can admit you have a fear and you embrace that fear, you become limitless. That's the secret to becoming, creating whatever you want. Embrace those fears. It is going to be painful. It's extremely freaking painful. And that's why a lot of people are turning to these things to numb over the pain. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to face it. And when you go through that pain, and I'm going to give you a suggestion, when you're ready to deal with that pain, which should be now, like we suggested, right? Have a support system, right? You don't have to go at it alone. Have a coach, have a therapist, have someone that can help you through it, have a spouse, have a friend, have someone that can help support you through that. See, we've grown up in a society, especially for you men out there, right? Because I am one, I know from experience. We have learned from society that we have to hide our emotions in here. We can't. It's like you're not a man if you're not vulnerable, if you're not sharing, if you're not asking for support, then you're not a man, right? The reality is, there is feminine energy and there's masculine energy, and we have both of it. And part of the masculine energy is to actually invite feminine energy in to support us. We have to be supported. Also, it's to invite and it doesn't mean you have to invite feminine energy from a woman to get it. There's men with plenty. We all have feminine energy. Once we can have that love and that kindness and that support of someone that can guide us through the pain, through the problem, through the challenge, to disrupt that pattern and create a new neural pathway, a new focus, a new future, a new thing that we want to create. Until we allow the support to go through that, it's never going to change. And you're going to be in pain, you're going to be in misery, you're going to pretend that you're not, because you want your social media friends, you want your family, you want the people that you interact with, you want people to think everything's okay. But I got news for you. I have worked with thousands and thousands of people, and every human being is dealing with something, is dealing with some sort of problem, and every human being turns to a drug of some choice. Doesn't matter if it's coffee or if it's weed or whatever. Someone's turning to the drug to hide that pain, to hide that problem. Everyone I've worked with, including myself. So be okay with that. Accept it. Admit that you've got a challenge you're dealing with, and find the one next best person that's going to support you to move to the next step so that you can work through it. And understand it is going to be painful. But the more you embrace that pain, the more it burns out of you, the more it just processes through your body. You become healed, you become happy, you become joyful, you become abundant. It doesn't mean you won't have another challenge, doesn't mean you don't have another thorn messing up your shit on the inside, but you have one less thorn to deal with. And the more you can just open up your heart and move through that, you're going to have more success financially, you're going to have more health, you're going to have more happiness, you're going to have a better connection with your spouse. I know a lot of you are struggling with connections with your spouse. How do I know? I used to have that same problem. In fact, it's something that sometimes I realize, I got to disconnect here with my wife here. And I have a choice at that point. I can drown it out with drugs. I can drown it out with alcohol. I can drown it out with connecting with other women. Doesn't matter. You could do that. Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to have to go have a difficult conversation with my wife and say, hey, listen, we're disconnected. I'm not sure if you're the problem or if I'm the problem. It's probably both of us. But we need some help here to move through this. I want to be your support, and I would love if you would support me. And one of the things I need you to do to support me is I need you to open up to me. I need you to share with me what you're dealing with. Because if I don't know what you're dealing with, I can't support you. But I know this way. I don't love the way this feels. So let's break through. How do I know that other people are dealing with it? Because they talk to me about it all the time. There's a lot of people dealing with it. No matter what challenge you have, I guarantee you that someone else is dealing with it on a high level. So don't be afraid to face that challenge, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Reach out to me. There's plenty of options I have to help you out through one of our training programs or our coaching sessions or something like that. Just let me know. I want to help you. I want to support you. At the very least, I've got a friend right now who reached out to me about some things I can't necessarily help him with, but I was able to put him into touch with people that can help him. Right? I want to help you guys in every which way I can. That's my mission, is to create massive value for others, empower wanted you to act, because it's when you act in a new direction, in a new lead, a new future, is the only way that you'll burn through that pain. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting the problem that you've had, and worse, it becomes a habit, and it becomes stuck in your heart, becomes stuck in your head, and you become a permanently miserable human being, and that would suck. So become happy, become open, and take action right now. Thanks for being here, guys. If this created any value for you, drop a 1 in the comments. If you think I'm a little cray, drop a 2. I'd love to hear those people that are crazy, because some people send me a message and say, dude, you're off the rocker, man. You don't know what you're talking about. So I appreciate that. I'd love to see, because I want to increase my communication skills with you guys. Give me some thumbs up, give me some reactions, and hit that share button if this created any value at all for you. I appreciate your help. Let me know if you have any questions about financial freedom, about real estate, about becoming a better realtor. I can lead you and set you up into the right direction, because that's what I'm here to do. We'll see you later. So right there's a prime example that it turns into $1.1 million, which is just over $30,000, roughly $33,000 in commissions, from simply understanding it's the long game. And that's what I hope that you guys can understand. So drop a 1 in the comments to make sure, because I might be repeating myself here, but drop a 1 to make sure you understand that it is the long game.